welcome everybody to the channel. This is Blackspace, and today we're bringing back All Pro Football 2K as I am grinding. Excuse me. Man, just got like instantly thirsty there. Anywho, grinding to the end of the season. We are halfway done, and so I have a series announcement. It's a big one. It is going to be a massive series that's going to take a lot of time and a lot of effort. There's going to be some moving parts to it, and I'm really hoping I can get it just right. And I was working on it before I went live today, and it's gold so far. It's freaking gold. Everything that I was hoping that I could accomplish as far as like editing and stuff like that to get things the way I want to get them without spoiling everything, of course, right away. We're gold. I'm super excited. So this series, my Madden 11, I'll be grinding to. I'm in week 3 there, so that one might not be done by the time that I start the new one, but not too long after. The St. Paul Saints MLB The Show will be more sparingly. How are you doing, OC? Watching Undisputed. Oh, God. They're all together. Bomba's in there. I might be losing some brain cells if I had to watch that, not gonna lie. Bomba, I mean, we're both Vikings fans, okay? For anyone who thinks I'm just being rude. We're both Vikings fans. And that makes it tough. Because for how much I want to back my team, they frustrate me. And they're really frustrating me. But they finally drafted a quarterback. And so I'm super excited about that. The only issue is the 3rd round. And I know they tried going to get Justin Fields, and I'm glad we didn't get Fields. I don't think he's going to pan out to be like the guy in the NFL. Could be wrong, obviously. It's way too early. I think more or less him not panning out is just the fact that he's in Chicago. I feel like if you would have went to a place that is more stable for the long term as far as coaching and GM goes, that's why I'm glad we didn't get him, because a lot of people were calling for Spielman and Zimmer's head. So like, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to bring in a 1st round quarterback in that situation. A 3rd round's a bit different though, because you could still have a 3rd round on your roster, and yeah, the new regime wants to come in and bring in their guy, but it's usually not at the expense of a 1st round pick. You know what I mean? Like the Chicago Bears, let's say they absolutely suck this year before I get into the game, and they're just terrible. And Justin Fields doesn't look like the guy right away, like Tua Tagovailoa type stuff, where he's like in, out, inconsistent, not really the guy, right? Then you got question marks. Your head coach and GM quite possibly fired because they traded next year's 1 and 4 to go get him, including a 5 this year, and their 20th overall pick to move up. So then you're like, okay, well, we're kind of stuck with them, but at the same time, does the new coach and new GM want them? I don't know. God. Sorry to get into that tangent, but man, it's been one of those things where it's just, I just sit back and watch the NFC North. And to get back to the conversation of Bamba and I, he and I are on very different sides of the spectrum as far as Viking fanship. Not that we don't both support our team, but he supports him no matter what. No matter the decision. He's like, oh yeah, that was a great decision. And it's like, no. You know what I mean? Kind of like halfway through the year last year. I just to make sure my Saints were still at All Pro. He thought that the Vikings shouldn't have started tanking and getting the best overall pick. He's like, gotta make the push for the playoffs. It's like, no. Anywho, we're making the push here ourselves towards the end of the season. We're halfway. The Aggies not looking too promising. They're sitting around that 500 mark, which isn't great. Actually kind of sounds like their real life counterparts, the Aggies, which ironically is where the Vikings quarterback came from. I might actually just binge the shit out of this series tonight. We'll see.
We'll take hands.
And then do like same for Madden over the next couple days.
We'll take the ball.
The Minutemen.
What's SMH, Stumpy?
And select to receive.
For anybody who might be disappointed that this series is leaving, I get that. I'm not closing on the door of something coming back that would be similar. The Minnesota State aspect will be gone after this year. But I'd be open to doing another team, maybe even a big team, like a bigger team. I don't know. Trying to get them to be constant contenders. I know, but why? I know what SMH means. Set go. Moving. Finds his guy. Incomplete. I feel like the Aggies uniforms, this game allowed me to make pretty damn good uniforms.
Second and 10 from your Minutemen, 29-yard.
I am interested in doing some more NCAA football. I'm not sure if it's going to be in this game or the Dreamcast. I'm sort of looking towards the Dreamcast, but we'll see. I really don't want to give away too much of what the new series is, though. Like, I could talk about the... I thought I said why. Or what are you shaking your head about, that type of thing. The NCAA thing, I'm not hiding by any stretch of the imagination. I don't even have a firm plan on it yet. Yikes. Man, you can tell I'm rusty in this game.
Second and 10. Ball at the 43-yard.
At this point, I've played a lot of the, if not most, if not all, really close to it. Current Mavericks that were on the team when I started this series. So I'm not talking about like the freshman recruits that they just got this year for the spring and stuff like that. And the players who came over and or left, like Sicko. Sicko left during the spring, before spring scrimmages. So that was actually pretty disappointing. Just because it took a little bit for him to get up on my depth chart. You know, we had the Porknell experience and the J.D. Akawa experience and the Maximum Football, which was a lot of fun, which I'm still planning to... That's why I don't necessarily want to completely abandon this idea for the series. I'll be ending the team no matter what after this year. But I do like being able to
Second and 16 from the Cobras, 44-yard.
do a lot of the creativity that I've had. I don't know. I do know what the big series is, though. I'm stoked as hell for that. But like I said, it might be Dreamcast. We'll see. Just so I can have a series on the Dreamcast, you know? 'Cause I wanted to do an NFL 2K1 franchise on there, and boy, was I bad at the game. Like, man. The game, play, the field, just all of it is so different from this game. Going deep. Yeah, that was a bad pass. Trying to go to Tyler Johnson in the field. Or Tanner Johnson, sorry. Not Tanner. Or Tyler. Tanner. Sorry, Tanner.
Your Minutemen have selected to punt. Reed is deep to receive.
Oh my god. I got into a long tangent about Bamba and I just like right before he came in. So just how, you know, despite us both being Vikings fans, how we're just so ungodly different. And I got into like a tangent on Justin Fields. Aaron Rodgers not at OTAs today, though. Makes me excited. Refusing to show up to OTAs for Green Bay. Maybe there is something actual there, you know, for all these people who are like, oh, it's not a big riff, you know, it's not something blah, 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 blah. And you know what? People might go back into the history books and say, okay, well, Aaron Rodgers only came to OTAs X amount of times. That's fine, but he's definitely not there today. I mean, yeah, I guess he could show up tomorrow. It's definitely happened. But I'm excited for the possibility that he's going to be wanting out. Julio. Grandster and Bamba are annoying me. I make my predictions and Grandster and Bamba all over it because they have the Broncos going 5-12. Huh? Broncos are not a good team though. If they don't get a franchise quarterback like in Aaron Rodgers, they are definitely going 5-12, 6-11-ish. Drew Lock is not the guy. Teddy Bridgewater is not the guy. Teddy's shown multiple locations now he's not the guy. I don't care what people say. Well, he had the injury. That's how he showed, or he got hurt in Minnesota, so he didn't. No. No. Look at his stats. He was not the guy prior to the injury. And they're like, well, that was his big year. That's the third year, fourth year, blah, 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 blah. No. 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 Watson and Jackson just show that you don't have to be in your third or fourth year of development to bust out. And Teddy B never busted out in Minnesota. Never, ever, ever. The only thing that busted was his fucking knee. There we go. Garrett Cannon Jr. Oh, in Green Bay, Blake Bortles. Oh my God, I'm so happy that they signed him. Is this the writing on the wall? Or is this an insurance policy? I got into an argument with a Packer fan, and they go, he is just a camp body. I said, there's no way in hell Blake Bortles is a camp body. None. Zero, zip, zilch. And yeah, sure, I guess I can eat my words. But the only way he's a camp body, realistically, is if Aaron stays. That's it. So I'd see him more of as an insurance policy than a camp body. And those are two very different things, because an insurance policy you're planning on keeping if you have to.
2nd and 10.
I'm gonna kill myself. Michael Scott. I'm gonna kill myself, and it's all your fault. God, I've just been rolling out of the pocket recently in all my freaking football games I've been playing. I know I'm usually out of the pocket. It's on my second week. Yikes. That means we started out, what, 0 for 4, 0 for 5? Yikes, yikes, yikes. I'm going to have the coach recommend a play or two here. I'm not really paying crazy attention. I'm just talking a lot. I'm just happy to be doing this shit. Honest to God. And I'm really happy that the editing for the new series, what I wanted to get done, is done. And it looks good and it feels good. So the editing is not done by any stretch of the imagination, actually. It's more or less gets to take a break now because the important part. Oh my God, OC! He didn't catch it. That's the one thing with those NFL rosters I was doing, and that was actually one thing I want to talk about too. So I was planning on doing like an NFL 2K22, and I'm not going to because of the 28-team format. It's just so hard for me to get into it. And I'll still probably do like the one-off streams happily, right? I'm just not going to invest as much time into the rosters that I was doing. I'll sparingly touch them. But, you know, kind of like Stumpy said before, there's just so many games that, you know, us game collectors have gotten at this point. And I like to call myself a collector at this point. When you're up to, what, 1, 2, 3, 4 systems? Oh, here we go. Pick like a pro, just subscribed. Thank you, man. Welcome. I appreciate it. Go, 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 Dean. Ah, Davey Dean. I went for a 4th down. Didn't even know I did it. Too busy talking. I appreciate it. Davey Dean, my freshman. It'd be really cool if I had somebody like a Davey Dean, if I started up a new series in this type of format for NCAA. If I had him like transfer out of Minnesota and go to whatever school I was going to. Just because Davey Dean is not a Poston, right? Poston is so polished as an overall wide receiver. He's a backup on my current roster, but his skill set's polished. And oh, what's his name? Parrish. Parrish is going to be, if I kept going with this series, he would just be ungodly good. That's the one thing I'm a little worried about, is now that I start to see my record at undefeated, and that's good, right? For college football, that's good, but at the same time, it's like I'm starting to get to that point to where it's like my game playability plus my rosters getting it to where like the winning is a lot better and easier. To where like last year, oh my God, Stumpy, remember how many times we'd have like an open wide receiver and the dude would just brickhand the shit out of it and it just hit the ground. It's like, oh, well, great, 4th down, gotta punt it again. We hit him right between the numbers. He looked like a DB out there. OCU, remember? You're like, God, where did that guy come from? Defense? Defensive holding on Minnesota State, of course. Of course. Before my new series gets going, I still want to try to get together with Mac, because he said that he'd show me how to do these redemption stuff for the store in here. And with this new series, without trying to spoil it, I want to get the betting thing going if I can, which would be really cool.
2nd and 8.
Because when he did that, that's when I was like most in tune with his channel, like back in those days. I still watch, but I just don't follow as intently as I used to. Granted, my job is very different now. My hours are very different. I don't get to catch them as easily as I used to. Back then, I mean, I'd be at a store, a retail store, and because of COVID hours, they'd close. And then Mac would just go live right once the store closed. And so I'd be sitting in the store by myself for 2 hours, completely alone, to make sure that nobody's trying to bust down the doors, because we're a retail store and nobody was used to COVID hours yet. Yeah, he gone. So back then I watched everything, like his college baseball. Oh my God, that was so much fun. The Navy. His NFL 2K5 was a lot of fun back then. Where's Hawkins? Hawkins is on this team, right? We need Hawkins to return kickoffs now. I wonder if I can start getting Hawkins some playtime now that I know that I'm going to wind this series down officially. I've been talking about it, but now that I'm like dead set certain on it. Cannon Jr. with the one-handed grab, and then AI decided to pull him back towards the coverage there. 2K is not 100% perfect, as it always. Because there in real life, you would have just turned up and been hasta la vista.
Everybody ready?
1st and 10 from your Minutemen, 50-yard line.
And yes, for anyone who's wondering, I'm going to tease the shit out of that new series as much as I can. I'm going to milk it over the next 2 days, and even then, it's not starting as soon as I announce it. It'll be just announced, and there'll be still stuff to work on, and
No way, baby! Nowhere!
when I get the game in my hands, I'm going to work on certain rosters in it, and edit certain things to get it to the way I want it to be. You know what I mean? So that'll won't be too crazy long after. That's why I want to maybe get 4 games of this done today. Realistically, that'd be nice. If I could get 4 games of APF done today between, let's say, 2 now and 2 later on tonight, that would be ideal, because that would put me at like week 11 out of 16, so that means I'm pretty much like halfway there. Even if I gotta put off like Madden 11 for like a day, just to get this going here. I think everyone's anticipating the NCAA playoffs, assumingly I get there, because I said I'd be doing a tournament at some point, and I think everyone's kind of wondering if that's going to be it, if that's where I have prizes and stuff like that. I know I've definitely gotten DM'd.
down with the carry. Gain of 4 yards on the play. First down, Minutemen.
Oh, a dishwasher job? It's busy work, man. If you're ever looking for a
First and 10.
job in the security field, Stumpy,
15-yard line.
I'll be happy to be your reference. I don't think my company's out there, but there are plenty of companies, and I'd gladly be a reference because I know how much effort you put into your own series, and if you're able to put in effort like that into something that literally has no financial payoff, imagine what you can do when you know you're getting money in the bank account. Parrish! Told you he's good. Holy hell. Parrish is so good. Let's see if we can get the song going here. There we go.
This is the checkers
my
game
God.
where grandson and granddad will bond.
No.
This is the kitchen.
No. Since when did that get monetized? That wasn't monetized for like ever. With the 12-mile-per-hour winds, I kick it out of bounds. And now I'm definitely prone to doing that. I do it probably like once every other game. So, there's my transfer kicker from LSU. And honestly, for anyone who's wondering on how to do this, buy Maximum Football. Have that be your off-season, your roster control, all that stuff. And then get the APF editor. And obviously you can't copy and paste, but you definitely know what I mean. You know, go through settings and player ratings and stats, and it's a lot of work. Oh God, is it a lot of work? But playing it on here compared to like a Maximum Football or an NCAA Football 14, and nothing against 14. I've played probably like, oh jeez. I got the game on release day, so at this point I've probably played like 20, 25 seasons over my series, obviously offline. I was not a YouTuber back then. I turned around Minnesota, left, and then I went and did it to K-State. That one took me a little bit longer to get K-State because obviously overlooked a little bit. Can't wait to make the extra moolah, of course. Oh, it's a restaurant next to your house. Dude, that's like a win. Win and a half. And then offer to be like, are they the type of place that serves liquor and has like busy Saturday nights? Because I was going to say, offer to be at the doors doing security if need be too. You know, make yourself versatile. Checking IDs, do whatever you can around there. Make yourself the jack of all trades, the person that they just want to go to. That's where the moolah is. They know that you're willing to do it and that you can do those types of situations and jobs, and you're flexible, and you have a good attitude, you're gold. You don't need to run fast. Oh my God. Do you know how many security jobs you just sit in a shack and you watch cameras? I envy, maybe not financially envy, the people that are at the gate for the site that I'm filling in at. So I drive a truck right now at the site that I was filling in at, and I go to different railroad, I wouldn't call it stations, but depots in our area. and I catch trains as they're coming through based on the itinerary, and then I log when they come in and enter it in the computer, yada yada yada, right? Well, a different company has the gate, which you think is weird, but they do. So a different company controls the gate to where we keep our truck, ironically enough. And they make like $14 an hour, and they get to play video games inside their shack. Like, yeah, I bring my PSP in the truck. Don't get me wrong, 'cause when you're waiting for a train for, let's say we have multiple trains coming in a few hour span, well, I'm just going to sit at the same depot. Anywho, but they get to bring their full-on consoles, and they invest in like hotspots in there, and like they're streaming and stuff at night, like 2 a.m.
Okay.
and making content or they're recording. Like, oh my god, the amount of work I could get done on my channel would be stupid. I feel like I almost get sick of my channel at that point. Like, I'm at like that perfect blend of where I work so much that it's like a blessing to come back to my channel and get my work done on this, you know what I mean? Because I get all these ideas, and I watch others at that time when I'm working. I'm trying to get inspiration and stuff like that. Come on, Tanner, gotta catch up. Good defensive play though. You'd be surprised of how many small towns will get neighboring townspeople to come in, especially if it's a good bar. You know, they can get hustling and bustling. You'd be surprised. I watch a lot of bar rescue. Maybe like a bar right off the highway, and a lot of people that are traveling stop there because it's at like near a rest stop and just ideal locations. It's crazy. All the different things that play into how and why people subconsciously stop there, you know, obviously besides advertising. Like location, it's just crazy. What other neighboring towns are around and how much money those towns have. Passing a little bit too much now. Our passing game is just not working right now. I think I put in my freshman last game too, just because we absolutely destroyed the other team. I'm not going to put him in. Sickle's just fine. Probably more my issues than anything. Coleman, of course. As soon as I run the rock, touchdown. Actually, you know what's funny? So I don't think I've actually told you guys this before. Is when I was deciding to start this series way back on Maximum Football last fall, when I found out that the NCAA would not allow a D2 season, I started it to give a lot of those players, obviously not a real year, because I mean they're not playing this game, but to almost make it feel like that, right? So that way they could see their likeness on the field as much as I could render it. And I wanted to do Sim's idea and stuff like that. But I thought about, because they are in real life a D2 team, and they're constantly in the D2 playoff system. Constantly. And two of the last 5 years they've gone to the championship game and lost, which is like the story of my life being a Minnesota fan. So I thought about just having in Maximum Football where I edit all the D1 schools to D2 with as much as I could names and cities and stuff like that, but I just did not have the inspiration back then because I was doing the sim stuff on top of it. And I realized that you guys probably wouldn't care as much probably back then, just because it's, you know, D2 schools where you're like, well, here, like, this is a perfect example. You see a Texas A&M. In the first year it was an Ohio State. I think Ohio State's my highest rated video as far as views and likes for the first year. Because obviously Ohio State's a big name. But if I put Valdosta State, everyone would be like, who cares? Or what? You know? So despite it not being 100% realistic to bring this D2 team into maximum football, which is a game that is way too easy to play, which is why I switched over to APF and win the championship year one. Sometimes you just have to draw that line. It's a video game. Oh, hell yeah. We blew up the running back so the quarterback kept the ball, and Max Dom got home. For everybody in here, make sure you hit that like. Thank you for coming on in, and I will be playing another game more than likely after this one, and more than likely another one tonight, one or two. We'll see. I think Matt BRM Gaming streams tonight, so my audience might be like 0, but that's okay. I actually went back and I watched some of my NFL 2K5 videos. I deleted a few of them because of the face cam quality and picture of some of the videos, but get home. There we go. You can hear the lawnmower behind me here. I live in a townhome association, so they have somebody cut the grass, which is really convenient until your son's taking a nap, so hopefully he doesn't wake up here. Alright. I saw Hawkins though, getting ready to try to block a punt. God, easy for me to say. Still haven't got that drink yet. Like, to open up the video, like, I stumbled on my first 2 words because I'm like, shoot, I'm thirsty now. Still have to go up, get a drink, so life choices, you know. God, it's so nice out here right now. I'm thinking about going to the store if they're selling domestic fireworks, because we're a state that you can't actually have fun fireworks. And to get some, like, strobes and some poppers for the kiddo. If you ever want to watch something funny, watch Stumpy react to his Madden Sim series and the results, because he'll have like a 99 overall team, and his team will go like 5-11, because, you know, pre-17 game season, and he'll just lose his freaking mind, which is hilarious. He goes, if I ever die, it's going to be from depression. I'm pretty sure he is meaning, like, as in, because the Madden Sim and engine is so broken. So broken. Granted, it was like one of the best games ever, Madden 08. The Sim engine of it, my God. I think it took into consideration if you were playing on, like, All Pro or All Madden. And so it would just dock you wins. Like, nope, sorry. You're on All Madden, so, like, we can't have a realistic Sim now. You know, it just... I feel like if you're going to have All Madden or All Pro or whatever, it shouldn't count towards the simulation as much as just your players and teams' ratings. You know what I mean? Just, oh. God, what a strip sack there. Harrison Starr. Dropping back. Max Dom. Wow. Max Dom getting the football out of the hands. Was that Lammel? That was Lammel. Lamel really is his name, but Lammel sounds fun. I'm sure I told you, their drafting engine is broken too, because you can have Peyton Manning in the prime of his career, and they're going to draft a quarterback in the first round or a punter in the second round, and yeah, despite kickers occasionally getting drafted that high, very rarely. Or what you'll see oftentimes too is quarterbacks from the exact same school going picks like 1 and 2. And it's like, this is not Tom Brady and Drew Henson here. And even then, Tom Brady was a 6th-round pick because of having to share time with Drew Henson. You know what I mean? That's the one benefit that a current Madden has over Madden 08, is you can go in and you can edit that type of stuff. To where you're like, nah. There was something special about having a randomized draft class, though, in a way. For what it's worth. I guess I just love going through and editing everything nowadays, so. So 21 unanswered for Minnesota State. That one resulting off of an error, or sack fumble. Sorry, I was about to say an error. God, you can tell I played baseball last night. Woof. Playing a ton of baseball on the PSP. I played some Madden, don't get me wrong. Madden 11, and on the PSP it's got pretty much the exact same game as Madden 08. It even has player weapons still. Because I was like looking up best game to get for PSP for Maddens, and they said 08, right? Which makes logical sense. And they go, well, they got the player weapons. And then I get into Madden 11, and I realize they still have the player weapons. They just don't have it displayed underneath the players. Yeah, Drew Henson was. I'm pretty sure I'm saying that right. Those fumbles are the last
thing we need. I was trying to hang on to. What's up, man? You got grease on your hands? I couldn't do a whole lot about it, man.
Second and 10. Ball at the 22-yard line.
Yeah, I did. Drew Henson, yes, exactly. He was supposed to be like the young kid coming out of high school, like number 1 or 2 recruit out of the country at his position, and he went to Michigan as a quarterback. Oh boy. Let's see what he did in the NFL. Drew Henson, because I know he went. I see him in a Lions shirt. Pro Football Stats. Well, you know you're screwed when you start off. Oh wow, that's real bad. Shows 2004, 2000. Maybe they messed up the stats. But with the way the internet is, I'm surprised. Especially being such a highly touted kid out of high school, I think that right. Yeah, I know he has baseball third baseman. Is a former Major League MLB third baseman in the NL and quarterback. He was drafted by the Texans in the 6th round. Ironic! He was also drafted in the 6th freaking round. No way. What are the odds of that? Come on, Hawkins. Hawkins is just not getting the jumps right now. And I love that. Like, you gotta like time your jump, and it's not cheese like it is Madden, where the punter slows down his whole delivery, and you feel like you get an extra 1.5 seconds, and you probably actually do. No, either you time it right, or your guy goes into like this weird strut stance, which I guess, you know, is one of those things that's maybe not perfect in the game, I guess. Oh, that one's picked. Where's OC when you need it? Good lord. OC, they got a pick. Bledsoe. No, I'm talking about Drew Henson. He was the quarterback at Michigan with Tom Brady. And Tom Brady and him split snaps. Oh, yeah, you're good. Yeah, I'm talking about Tom Brady and why he went in the 6th round. If I'm bouncing all the prices, conversation. Sorry, but I guess normally I don't really talk this much during streams. I talk, but it's more like commentating over the game, and I don't know. It's just nice to talk. Get on here, ramble a little bit, have fun a little bit. Ooh, I got Foss down his hand in the dirt. That's a linebacker. Oh. Is A&M going to make this interesting after the pick? Yeah, there was during the pandemic. So when there just was not a whole lot of NFL coverage going on, like not a whole lot. I know that the NFL still had their free agency at the right time and the draft at the right time, but I was watching NFL Network and there was just nothing popping off at that moment, so they had some Tom Brady special on there. Yeah, they touchdown, sold the house to him. Brought the house, sold the land, ended up giving up a touchdown on said land. They had this Tom Brady special, and it really went over his early years in the NFL and his time in Michigan. Like how he chose Michigan and how he was supposed to be like the quarterback at Michigan, and then they didn't expect to get Drew Henson. And so with the boosters and everything and the fan support, they felt this immense pressure to go get Henson and have him start right away. How you doing, Andrew Smith? Good to have you back in here. God, I haven't seen you in a little bit. This is what happens, you know, stream for 3 days. You see a name and you're like, oh, you know. I gotta put Hawkins back here. Hawkins can't hold on to the ball, I don't think. I don't think he has good ball carry. I think I put him back there for a couple snaps a few games ago, just to show you guys. I'm pretty sure it's like a blowout. I'm gonna run the ball here. I know I called the pass play, but I'm audible it here.
They're going air. They're going air. I see pass.
Eli's with the Jets.
A pickup of 3 on the play.
Yeah, I'd say practice facilities. That'd be one hell of a trade. Oh, God, what was the defensive tackle that got traded from the Jets to the Giants? Leonard?
34-yard.
That was like a year or two ago. He was like a first-round pick for the Jets. Parrish, God, he's so good. It's players like him that would not want, or not, it'd make me not want to end the series. That's the way I want to say it. I had to find the exact wording there. It's players like that that I recruited and that I got on my team that just have so much promise. Shoot. Leonard Williams, something like that, yeah. Pretty sure he was drafted by the Jets and traded. Or cut, but I'm pretty sure it was a trade.
Second and 10 from the Cobras, 42-yard.
Enough. So I remember he had like those TV commercials when he got drafted. He got a good amount of money. I mean, because New York's a big market. God, I want to say it was maybe DirecTV or Dish Network, something like that. I can't remember. I might have to look it up in a second. Williams commercials. Unless he has a TV company.
First down, Minutemen.
Okay, people, doubles, 50Z, tight end, cross.
Yeah,
Let's
there
make
was
it
a
count.
TV commercial.
Break.
Exactly. Looks like it said Visa TV or something like that. Be careful what you ask for there. I don't know if that's a change of pace you want there, Stumps. If you want to just go backwards in gameplay, go play, I don't know, Madden 01, 2K2, something like that.
Second and 10.
I got it, though. I get it. Shoot. That was a good tip.
The pass was incomplete, intended for Hunter.
I'm not to bring it as a series, but just to kind of try it out. I still have Madden 17 bought in the Play Store, and I can still access it. I'm thinking about, even though I have 16 as a disc, so I might do 16 or 15. We'll see. But I was thinking about 17 because that was the last year before they went to the new engine. and see exactly how the gameplay was, because I know it wasn't great, and I know the new engine really broke it, but Ryan Moody still had a ton of content on those Maddens, so I don't know. What does they want me to do? Field goal? Sure. Well, Barrow's got a leg. I know that for sure. 12-mile-per-hour winds, though. Yikes. And got it. I like to credit that kick to PGA 2K, because I play that a lot in my spare time. 16 is where it got really bad as far as dependent on animations, in my personal opinion. And if anyone is wondering, yes, I do have a series on Madden 16 on my channel. It was a 1969 Vikings series. Before, well, no, really in the beginning of the Vikings starting to make their 4 Super Bowl runs. So they didn't have all the pieces there yet, but they had a good cluster. I got copyright strikes a couple times. One of the times I used the CBS logo the entire EA broadcast. So instead of having EA logos on there, I had CBS. So that was a lot of fun. Got copyright strike for that one. Sure they love that. God, I can't believe how much I get copyright strike now. It's mostly for music. Like, I'm going to have to consciously turn off the music in these games, and I hate doing it because, like, Madden 11 has the greatest soundtrack I think I've ever heard, but, like, even in the stadium music, that's what I'm getting dinged for, too, I'm pretty certain, because some of these games I know for sure I have the menu music on, but I think it's stadium music that's also getting me. You know, it's crazy. So I was watching Soft Drink TV on a couple of his retrospectives, because I watched the APF one, I watched the 2K5, I watched Madden 04's, Madden 05's retrospectives, Madden 08's, Madden 12's, just to see. And I loved seeing like the gameplay in there too, because he'd show gameplay. And come on, Hawkins! Oh my God, Hawkins finally got a good jump, and I didn't time it right on the dive. Naturally. I think Griffin's, yep, Griffin's the one on the catch, 48. And it is just insane, because he mentions pass trajectory. Stumpy, I'm sure you can attest to this. Pass trajectory. I feel like I'm, granted, yeah, it's a PSP game, and granted, it's Madden 11, so it's the PS2 version of the game, but the pass trajectory, it is such a valid point. I use Phillip Rivers, who's like a 6'4", 6'5" quarterback, roughly, right? Phillip Rivers. And he keeps hitting the back of his offensive linemen's heads, because I think it's the pass trajectory system in that game is broken. Tanner Johnson with the touchdown. So like you legit have to like leave the pocket or find your windows. Like, I'm not Drew Brees here. Like, that shouldn't be an issue. Like, if that was Drew Brees and you said that he was hitting the back of his offensive linemen's heads, or he was getting the ball swatted down more often because he's not finding the windows to throw to, because that was like one of the great things about Drew Brees being a shorter quarterback, is he could always still find the windows through his offensive lineman to throw the football. But man, I feel like I just get the ball hit at the line just constantly, whether it's my guy or their guy. And Phillip, I mean, he was your typical statue quarterback, so believe me, in those games he didn't have the mobility to really get out of the pocket and throw it on the run, you know? Granted, that game was a lot more forgiving if you were to throw it off balance, or it didn't penalize you like this game does. My God, if you take a pocket quarterback and try rolling out and throwing, it ain't gonna go well. Son of a gun. Another kick out of bounds of those 12-mile-per-hour winds. I was trying to pin it right in that corner so that way it'd bounce and I'd have a whole bunch of time to get down there, but for anyone who's wondering about my kicker's one bar, I just loved it, honest to God. Gary Anderson. Yes, that Gary Anderson 1998 Vikings. I know. He had one bar. And so, I grew up pretty much watching kickers have one bar. Is that Dom with another strip? It is. Max Dom with another strip sack, his second of the game.
Second and 17.
I don't mind QBs making bad throws due to lack of awareness, but to willingly throw into triple coverage is what pisses you off in Madden 08. Was his name Brett Favre? Because that it would be realistic if his name was Brett Favre. Like, then that would have to be like a new meter, like confidence. You know what I mean? Like, he had way too much confidence in his arm. Or Matthew Stafford, he'd do the same thing to Megatron. Like, here you go. But yeah, if it's some Jake Delhomme, Carson Palmer, no. Oh, Max down with another strip sack. Are you kidding me? What was that, quarterback got butterfingers? Or is he just that unaware? I'm putting the ladder on that one, but holy smokes. Max down with his third strip sack coming across. Wow. I'm gonna step out of it, right? Here, catch for Griffin. Griffin's a DB, but he can catch.
46-yard line.
I just don't know if he's got the best coverage skills. I think he's a starter or a substitute backup where he'll come in packages.
46 yards.
No, but it's tougher than Favre. I'll say this, a couple times in my Madden 11 on the PSP, and when I say that, obviously it's PS2 engine pretty much, so just think about it that way. I have been able to step up in the pocket and climb the pocket, which is nice and refreshing, because Stumpy, like I said, careful what you wish for, because if you have a pocket quarterback and you don't know how to step out, or if you want to climb the pocket, yeah, good luck. Pockets in those games are not really quality. It's my year 2 Jameel Fitzgerald this weekend. I do have hope in True Font as he picked up Eli Manning for a pick 6. I remember going to a Vikings game. It was the 2015 season. The Vikings were playing outside at TCF Bank Stadium as US Bank Stadium was being built. And was it week 16? I want to say week 16. Because the next week I think we went to Lambeau and knocked off Green Bay in their stadium, week 17. Yeah, it sounds right. Yeah, because week 15 I went to the Chicago Bears game at home. Sat in the end zone with my ex. Yeah, I'll forever regret that one. Week 16, my friend Tyler and I, we sat row 2 or 3. And we got on NBC's cameras. Like they showed our signs and stuff like that. That was pretty cool. Denver Dubs. Do I know a Denver Dubs? Is this somebody with a new name, or is this a new sub? Or somebody new to the channel? So hard to tell sometimes.
Come on, fellas, let's keep them up.
Like, instinctually I'd want to say it's Grantster because Denver, obviously. But I really like Grantster's current name. It really fits him because he's big and tall. This is like a second channel, you know. I like QBs who can make passes from QBs. Are good but overrated. Well, not in the newer Meddons. You'll almost need it. Somebody who can get out of the pocket because you're going to be living out of the pocket. Maybe look for Parrish here. Oh. I wouldn't say it was a bad decision as much as just a bad pass.
3rd and goal from the Cobra's 3-yard line.
Like Coleman right up the middle here. Oh, 4th and goal. Normally I'd go to a QB sneak. I'll admit it's a bit OP, so I won't do it here.
4th and goal.
That's what I thought too. That's not the answer. Oh, right on. Coleman, stretch it. No. Down at the goal line though. Charles Coleman. That's how I found you. Through Grandster or Stumpy? Either way. Honored. Welcome. Thank you. Make sure you hit that like button while you're in here if you like the content. Got something big in the works though, as this series will be fading off into the sunset in the next week here. Kill him. Yeah! Nick Foss gets him off of his point. Unable to get his eyes back downfield. And the freshman, Lamel, comes in. Lamo, as I like to call him, and destroys him. Fun fact for you, Limmer, L-I-M-M-E-R, he's a defensive tackle for me. He's 6'8". Oh, see you later. 6'8". And he's got like a 80-something jump. I think because Maximum Football this year, they made players that were out of position when coming out of high school, so that way, like, depending on your scheme, yeah, you could play them there, but they're really probably better suited somewhere else, and I think he's one of them. Like, I think he's supposed to be like a defensive end, or maybe some quasi-linebacker-ish type of, I don't even know. But I put weight on the guy because he was a bit lean as a defensive tackle. That's why I think he was probably like not actually supposed to be a defensive tackle, like technically out of spot. But to make it like realistic, I put a little bit of meat on him, like he would go through an off season with me, his first off season. Bulk him up a little bit. There we go. Parrish is just so good. Parrish was like the number 30 or 35, something crazy good like that player, and he was at wide receiver. He wasn't the top wide receiver, I know that. He was like wide receiver 5, but I think he was like number 30 or 35 in the maximum football generator for high school players. Stumpy, question for you. Did you ever watch my spring game when I did it for this series? It was in the APF, not maximum. Come on, run, Tickle. Yeah, he had no shot. Tickle had no shot on that one.
2nd and 15 from the Cobras.
Come on, Coleman. Shoot.
This is a big one, boys. We need to stop. Hype it up. Hype it up. All right.
3rd and 14.
All right, what do we got? 3rd and 14. We're stopping the clock here. I feel like we should at least take a shot down the field. Oh, too easy. Slide it. Thank you. That's the one nice thing about having a mobile quarterback.
16 yards on the play. First down, Minutemen.
That's all good. I did it. It was like an afternoon stream. Didn't really get many views. That's probably like my one mistake with it. But I wanted to do it so bad, and I wanted it out so that way I could start the regular season. Oh my God. What a pass. Kobe. Will Kobe has been silent in this game. Touchdown for Minnesota State. God, tonight, let's say I play another game today, and then I play 2 games tonight, one of the games tonight, yikes. Quite possibly a absolute slaughterfest blowout. Oh, Barrow with the catch, the kicker, and he gets destroyed. Rare 80, how you doing? Welcome in. Despite us being close to the end of this game, I'll probably be playing one more. I'm sure you saw on either Twitter, Discord, somewhere. I've been posting it all over. I know I've said it for a while, but I wanted to make it a million% official. Is this one going out of bounds too? Yeah. Oh well. Game's over at this point. This series will wind down to an end. My Madden 11 will be just one season, which was really the plan to begin with Madden 11. The off season's not incredibly deep on that game for the PS3, Xbox 360 era. I just really wanted to get the Vikings that ring because, well, as the title says, rerunning it back with Brett Favre, because they're running it back for the 2010 season, and, well, the team collapsed about as well as the Metrodome collapsed that year, and the Dome definitely did collapse, so much so that the Vikings had to play 2 games not on their home turf. The first of which was against the New York Football Giants at Ford Field in Detroit, Michigan, which was really cool at the time because Ford Field was still a newer dome, and so it was really cool to see a newer dome with Vikings logos on it, because obviously we'd been inside the inflatable toilet for, at that point, probably like 30 years, right? So we've really only seen one thing, unless you were to, I don't know, go on Madden, old Madden, and create a new stadium. I never answered you on Discord. You sure?
2nd and 10 from
Huh. I'm gonna go check right now. Are you sure? Oh, I'm just gonna pause this real fast here and just brief. 20 teams are shareable at this point. Texans, Packers, Panthers. Of course, swear to God, I replied to this. Technically, Packers are done. They just won't play for some reason. That's close to being done, and then the stuff just started happening. Oh, you can send me what you got. I just want the whole file when you're done. Rare 80 is doing 2002 rosters. Sorry about that, Rare. I could have swore to God I replied, but such is life sometimes. It happens. Where you think you did and you didn't. Shoot, my dad did that to me this morning. He goes, I thought I sent this at 8 a.m. It was like noon when he finally got back to me. Pick it. Oh, that's incomplete. That's a turnover. Chiefs beating the car in real life, Stumpy? Real life. What in the hell? There's no way you were thinking real life. The Cardinals are in your division. How would you pick a team in your division to get to the Super Bowl that doesn't have a bona fide Hall of Fame quarterback? Like, if I pick the Packers, I don't really bat an eye if they got Aaron. You know what I mean? But I'm sure that'll change by the time the season starts. Kyler Murray.
2nd and 12.
I say this tentatively, obviously. I just don't think he's the guy. He's a guy. He's a good guy. I just don't think he's the guy. You know what I mean? Kind of like Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson's a guy. He's a good guy. And you know what? This might be the most blasphemous take you hear today. But I don't think Russell Wilson's the guy. His defense hasn't been what it has been really the last, his first 4 years in the league. And what's happened? And you can say, well, he doesn't have as many weapons and he still gets into the playoffs. Yes, he does. Certainly. Which means you're a good guy. You're a guy. You know, you're not a scrub. You're not riding the bench. You're not on the bottom half of the league where your team is looking to replace you. But you're making so much money and you're just not getting over said humps, you know? It's just, and for the Seahawks fans, I'm sure this is frustrating as hell. Cardinals are a good team, though. Yeah, they are, but you only go as far as your coach, and Coach Cliff Kingsbury, sorry. He's terrible with clock management. Awful. And I can't imagine in the biggest stages. Why is Auburn? Is Auburn actually on the schedule? They are. Cool. Didn't that playing this year already once? No? Yes? No? Maybe? No? Nope. I did not. I remember talking about them. Oh yeah, yes. I think Rare said that Auburn was our biggest test for the rest of the year, which is wildly true. I, honest to God, might just burn through these. Hey, Texas has back-to-back wins though. Go Texas! Back-to-back wins, yay! They were 1-6. Now what an easy schedule. Despite big schools in here, they're all beating up on each other. That's for sure. They got a good offense though. We got a good defense. Should be a good matchup. Cliff Kingsbury, his clock management's awful. And I'm not sure that their quarterback is the guy, which means you're probably not getting that.
You want head.
Heads it in.
Good kick.
And I have literally nothing against the Cardinals more. Well, I don't like their jerseys, so I shouldn't say nothing. After the jerseys, I don't care. They're just a team to me. You know what I mean? They show up on the schedule. We play them. That's it. They don't really make any moves where I go, you know. They had a good trade with DeAndre Hopkins. They fleeced the Texans, but everyone looks at the Texans and go, what the hell are you doing? More than they did Arizona, you know. Everyone probably looks at it and goes, well, we didn't make the call to Houston because we thought that it probably cost a lot more. You know, nobody really looked at the Cardinals and go, wow, you know, what a trade. Everyone looked at the Texans and go, morons, you know. Oh, wide open over the middle. Tanner Johnson, the tight end. That's playing the last 2 games. Packers, every time I edit their backup wide receivers for some reason. How many players are you trying to do at a time? No. So Stumpy, I'd say the only way that you would be wrong in that sense is he's a very good overall coach. I don't think, I could be wrong. I could be a little bit off base here, but I don't think he's like an offensive or really defensive coach per se. And I guess you could say, well, he challenged Tom Brady and he made Tom Brady be a different quarterback. Yeah, but with his time in Arizona, his defenses were pretty decent. So either he's getting the right guys in there, or he has his hand in the cookie jar, as they say, and he has a lot of say in that defensive room, which I think is actually the case. A lot more than most people probably think. So
You've seen this before, haven't you? I'm glad you're used to it.
it depends. Try going one player at a time.
Everybody ready?
2nd and 2.
1 or 2 players. I'm sure I've said it. I'm sure you've heard me say it, but I can only do about 4 or 5 players at a time. If I'm doing names only, I can probably get 7 or 8. But if I'm doing attributes and stuff like that, the most I can get done is 4 at a time, which makes it very difficult at times and very frustrating, but worth it. And then you go in and you save a new file, and you just keep saving and saving and saving and saving. So in that way, if you have to backtrack a little bit, you're only losing, 2, 3, 4 players and doing, yeah, you know what I mean? Now you've got several files there.
Allen with the carry. Peterson credited with the tackle.
No, he had to. I remember he said that the biggest change was that the Tampa Bay offense, the reads were different. Like, they wanted you to look down the field, or Arians, let's say, wanted him to look down the field as one of his first reads, not read 3 or 2. That had to be like read 1. Where were those safeties really going? Read 1 was never the guy on the slant route. Slants route, I'm running like 10 over here. Tried using it to get all those guys in coverage and step up through the pocket. Second and 2 in the ball. Or sorry, second and 2. 4th and goal, ball at the 2. My bad. I was just second down. That'd be great.
4th and goal.
I was looking at the hog 2 there. 4th and goal. Yeah, we got it. That's Sleazer. Good blocking. If we don't get it there, you know, we're at like the 1 yard line playing defense. And with the way that Dom played last game, I'm not that concerned. He had 3 strip sacks, and I never controlled Dom, I don't think, one time last game. So that was pretty much all his attributes and stuff like that. So I'd say Tom is the same quarterback, yes, but I'd say the reads were a bit different in the offense. That's all. It's not like Tom Brady was now running the ball. If anything, I'd say Kirk Cousins was more of a different quarterback last year than Tom Brady was. And before anyone wants to call bullshit on me and say, well, Blacksmith, you don't like Kirk Cousins. You're right, I don't. So that just shows legitimacy in what I'm about to say. Kirk Cousins had never, ever shown any willingness to step up through the pocket, not into the pocket, through the pocket and run the ball. Because he knew our offensive line would let up pressure. And I'm sure it was Kubiak who said, yo, they're going to get around our tackles. So instead of being at the top of your drop when that happens, step up and find your way through the pocket because they're coming, and use their aggressiveness against them. And Kirk Cousins had quite a few runs. Actually, let me pull that up. I'm pretty sure stats will back me up on this one. Kirk Cousins stats. I don't care about the passing. I know. That's why I'm so glad we drafted a quarterback, because, yeah, you could easily say, well, his passing stats, I don't give a shit. A lot of them are garbage time. It was funny, I was watching Mr. Hurricane do a stream in Madden 08 PS2, and one of the guys scouting reports in the game, because it shows like a scouting report, it's like a brief summary of who the quarterback is. It says, doesn't start hot in games, gets better as the game goes along, if he does, or like, if it's his game, you'll know relatively soon into it, but never a hot starter. And I was like, did they just take Kirk Cousins off the street and put him in the game and give him a different name? Like, oh, how do you drop that? Wow, he dropped it in the end zone. Why is it showing me? Oh, rushing. There we go. Well, that's crazy. Technically, he had more rushes his first season with Minnesota. That can't be true. That's probably more out of like necessity then, where he's just running absolutely for his life. Because last year he had, most yards. So the year prior he had 63 yards rushing, and last year he had 156 on, get this, and he only had one more rushing attempt last year compared to the year before, which brought his average up from 4.2 to 9.8. God, that feels right. Touchdown. What a catch. I gotta pay attention. Let my defense try to play. You think the Packers would sign Julio? Well, it wouldn't be a sign. It would be a trade. If they do a trade, I feel like Aaron would stay. I guess then the question becomes, after looking at the Diggs trade a year and a half, 2 years ago, because believe me, it's not the Hopkins trade that's going to set the precedent here. Like, I think we can all agree on that one. I think it'll be the Diggs trade as far as the new benchmark of what to get for a wide receiver. Would the Packers be willing to give that up? That's the question, in my opinion. Like, is that worth Aaron Rodgers' happiness? That type of thing. If they do trade for him, I'm going to be oh so happy that we got Mackenzie Alexander back and we signed Patrick Peterson, a veteran corner, because I might not have been the most thrilled about the signing at the time with Patrick Peterson just because, you know, he is past his prime. I mean, granted, I said if anyone's going to get one more really good year out of him, it will be Zimmer. But if the Packers have Julio and Devontae Adams, and Aaron, oh my God. At least it's not last year's corners. Like, and yeah, we got a lot of those rookies on the squad still, and they'll probably see sometime. But I think it's pretty universal that we got a different nickel. Oh, what a pick! Parrish usually comes up with those.
Interception on the pass by Scott.
Is it possible, or would the Packers have to give up too much? I think anything's possible. I think it's just a matter of what the Packers are willing to do, but I think too much would be in their eyes. This might sound crazy to you guys, but I hope the Vikings trade for him. And you go, well, the Vikings have to give up a haul. Sure, I suppose. But if you're really committed on winning this year, which I hope Spielman and Zimmer are, I don't know what the cap situation looks like. I mean, I'm sure that would be obviously the biggest restrictor towards us getting them. But let's say you were able to find the monies for it for 1 year. I mean, you have a bona fide number 2 wide receiver. Thielen could play in the slot, who's also really a number 2 when you think about it. It's like Diggs and Thielen were both number 2s together. So yeah, we'd have a bunch of number 2s, but Jefferson's a number 1. And he's going to get better with another year. I'd have to assume that our defenses are going to figure him out real quick. But if you add a Julio and have Thielen and have Jefferson, you can't just focus in on Jefferson, which I think is going to happen this year. Because Thielen was warranting a lot of that double coverage. Rightfully so, he's a really good route runner. But I think Jefferson's going to get a lot more of those looks this year. To where if you add a Julio, now you're really 3-4 wide receivers deep. Because BC Johnson is just not that guy. Chad Beebe is just not that guy. They're number 4 wide receivers, and maybe even just number 5s, realistically. And like I said, you know what? It could be absolutely not possible for the money, and I am just wasting my breath talking about something that just wouldn't happen. Shit. Coleman didn't even block. It's like he was mad in there for a second. You don't know if the Packers would risk that. Here's one reason that the Packers should.
This is what we're gonna do. Straight open. 50
I don't know what their cap situation looks like. You gotta remember they're really cash strapped as well. Is they had to restructure a lot of deals just to get back under the cap number. So they might even have to send off a player or 2 in that trade just to even make it work. Here's why you do it if you're the Packers. Life after Aaron Rodgers. Even if you think that you're going to trade him this year, and you're like, you know what, it just will be what it'll have to be, and Aaron's going to be gone, and it sucks, but that's life. You need to give Jordan Love every opportunity to be that guy, and having talent around him gives him that. Because when Aaron was young, he had Greg Jennings. He had, probably in his last year or 2, Donald Driver. I know Donald Driver was mostly with Favre, but I think he had 1 year, maybe 2 with Donald Driver, maybe 2. Jordy Nelson, a long time for Aaron Rodgers, right? Like, there was just pieces there for that young quarterback, and granted, future Hall of Famer, but you need to give your young quarterback that. You just do. I feel like that's, unfortunately, maybe for Green Bay with the way that their cap situation is. Maybe you make that trade knowing you're trading Rodgers. Maybe you trade Rodgers, then go get him. Maybe they hope that nobody trades with the Falcons until that June, I think it's like 4th or 6th mark, where the Packers can evenly. Oh, what am I doing here? I didn't even see that guy in the way. My bad. I didn't mean to go for it there. I was too busy talking. I didn't realize it was 4th and 20. Shit. You might have to make the trade knowing that you're going to trade Aaron Rodgers and just do it just to get the wide receiver and the talent for your young quarterback. I don't think there'd be anything bigger of a slap in the face to Aaron Rodgers than to trade him off and then go get Julio Jones, honest to God. You know, like, could you imagine how he would feel? You go get a bona fide #1 wide receiver via trade just after they ship your ass off? Yeah. The revenge tour would be real. I'd say the Falcons would be a good trade partner. If they didn't have Matt Ryan, you could be like, oh, well, we'll give you Aaron, you give us Julio, and, you know, a clusterfuck of picks along the way, because both of them have big contracts, but obviously you got Matty Ice there. God, could you imagine if Atlanta packaged Matty Ice, Julio Jones, Atlanta got Aaron Rodgers, and let's say a couple of mid-round picks? Like, obviously nowhere in the stratosphere is that going to happen, but that would be like some insane type trade. Like, not even Madden would say yes to that type of trade, but I feel like the cap number might actually work out, though. Atlanta would have another quarterback, a veteran quarterback. You'd have a young star tight end, and you have a young star wide receivers there, so Aaron would probably be happy. He'd be in the NFC, which I don't think Green Bay would love, but if they get a starting quarterback back and a starting wide receiver, then, you know, then you don't got to see if Jordan Love is the guy right away, which I think is why Blake Bortles is there in the first place, honest to God. I really do. Oh my God, Blake Bortles against the Vikings defense with the lack of weapons they have and all like that really is. Do they even have Lazard anymore? The Lizard? I don't even think they do. I think he went to Detroit. I'm gonna see. I hated playing Lazard, and I'm gonna still hate him if he's in Detroit, but not as much as if he had Rodgers, because it's a total different situation between Goff. Oh, what was his first name? Lazard.
The Wasps are back to punt. Wilson is deep to receive.
Alan Lazard. Nah, he's in Green Bay. Okay. Well, I still hate playing. I don't know why I thought he went to Detroit. Maybe too many Madden franchises I've played where he does. Pretty much every single one I play, he ends up in Detroit, like in the free agency. Just every single one.
1st and 10 from your Minutemen, 12-yard line.
Down! Shoot! You locked up! Single back!
Oh my God. Good run. Yeah, they do. I just looked it up. Depressing. I'm okay if we have to face him if Blake Bortles or Jordan Love are quarterbacks.
Okay, let's run.
I was talking to a family member, and they're like hell-bent certain that even if they got rid of Rodgers, like just because they're a winning culture, that they're going to have Jordan Love be like the next great quarterback. And I'm just like, no. If that was the case, if they honestly thought that Jordan Love was that guy, in my opinion, he would have even dressed for one game last year. He didn't dress one game. And I heard someone say, well, their normal backup left, and so they had to go get a new backup. And it's like, yeah, but that's why you have Love, right? And then someone goes, well, he'd be behind Love. And I'm like, would he though? At least you could say with Blake Bortles, he played in an AFC championship game. I don't think so. I really, really don't. Not right away. I Ah,
First and 10.
Bottles. That's a good name for him, though. God, Parrish is so good. I have like 2 picks today. You can tell I'm just loafing it when I'm talking. I'm like so confident we're gonna win this game, one way or another. See, that's what I'm talking about. Like, I didn't change the difficulty. Just my team's good now. Like, I have players that can catch and. Sickle is a good quarterback. And you're like, well, he started for you half the year last year, just over half the year. I remember we benched Forknell. Just more or less just to try Sickle out. I think it was just one of those games where nothing really was going right. Not really Forknell's fault necessarily. And Sickle just brought like a spark to the team. And so it just kind of stuck. I was on the bottle a lot with him. Oh my god, that's great, really. I love that comment. That's right. We have a Jaguar fan here. I think he found a great role as a backup quarterback in LA. I'm just trying to figure out why he didn't play the playoff game. Was he there last year? Or what was Blake Bortles this year? Because I remember they had the quarterback out of the AAF in the starting of the playoff game. Blake Bortles career. I'm sure one of you guys is going to chime in before I can even really get it looked up.
Third and 16 from the
No, LA.
14-yard line.
Weird. 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 You know what's so funny is how many people did believe in Blake Bortles. It's wild. I had a boss who wasn't a Jaguars fan until Blake Bortles got here.
Let's go!
All right, run the ball here. Oh, Coleman. There we go. Just running out the clock here.
That's the end of the second quarter.
I hate quarterback awareness. Eli throws 5 picks in a game. No TDs. That's realistic. He had games like that. Isn't he the quarterback on the receiving end of like the most sacks ever in a game too? Or in a half, wasn't it like 10 in the first half or something crazy like that? Pretty certain. I feel like the Jaguars are going to be like that new hot team again though. Kind of like they were with Blake when they got to the AFC Championship game. Like, they were the team that nobody really believed in or wanted to believe in, or ever. And so, for the few that were brave, to be like, oh, I'm cheering for the Jaguars. You know, prior to the AFC Championship game, but while they were on that run. I feel like they wanted to be vindicated so bad. But I feel like they'll be that team again. But granted, now they have Trevor Lawrence and Travis Etienne, along with, God, what was that running back? Not guard. I can't even remember. That's what happens when it's a team that's not my division, or even really conference.
From the Wasps, 31
Let's go, D! That's what we stand for!
And, yeah, 100%. I think that's essentially what it was too. I think it got to the point to where he almost Bradforded it. I remember Bradford doing it in Chicago too, where he just went down on his own. Like, he saw the rush coming. He didn't really feel like getting hit, and so he just kind of just go to the ground on his own. Like, all right, I got nowhere to step up. I got nowhere else to go. I really don't finish off this anymore. God, he had such a good year too. I'm surprised they took a running back in the first round, but God, that backfield could be electric. I love three-headed running backs in the NFL, and I get it. Helps no one's stats in fantasy, probably. Fantasy owners, probably. But it started with Dallas. I hate to say it, but I liked when Dallas did it. Granted, we beat them in the NFC divisional round in 09, but they had Tashard Choice, Barber, and oh jeez, myself not remember. How do I remember Tashard Choice and not the other one? 2009 Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys. Running backs. I remember it was a three-headed monster. I know that for a fact. Barber, Felix Jones. Yeah, so Tashard Choice was the lesser of the three. But I loved his name. Like, just a weird, unique name that nobody else is going to have. Oh, you should be. Oh, 100%. You should be nervous until the day he gets that second contract, meaning that he actually deserved it. The first overall pick, you should be nervous. Because usually, if you take a quarterback 1, he doesn't become Hall of Fame worthy. And then, let's say, Lance or... Oh God, quarterback that went to the Patriots. I'm gonna name something. Forget this on the spot. Or Fields. Mac Jones. There we go. That's it. Mac Jones. If any of those guys become Hall of Famers, the Jaguars already look like clowns if Trevor Lawrence isn't as good, if not better than. You know what I mean? You don't like his attitude? I feel like it can work in his favor, actually. I got to sneeze. Man, that was a terrible sneeze. Like, I sneezed so hard, I got goosebumps. Wow. That's the sneeze of a lifetime.
You could have shaken that block.
Because his attitude isn't like,
This is what I want.
Johnny Manziel, I'm better than the world type of mentality. It's just, I really don't care about what you guys say, do, or think type of thing. I think that could work in his favor. Especially in a small market like Jacksonville, where they really have nothing else going on besides the Jaguars. I think the only thing where you could say, well, big market is he's now Europe's quarterback too, realistically, if you think about it.
Credited with the tackle.
Brick wall, guys! Brick wall! We're stopping them right here, right now!
2nd and goal.
Touchdown? Touchdown? Nope.
Allen with the carry. A pickup of 4 yards on the play. Golick credited with the tackle. 3rd and goal from the Wasps. 1 yard line. Run by Allen. Tackle made by Carson. No gain on the play.
Remember when I said that the QB sneak was OP last game? Still gonna use it here.
Down. Shoot. You don't get nothing.
There we go.
Minutemen. Number 12 with the carry.
Go for 2.
Your Minutemen.
Down. Shoot.
Coleman. Wow. I'm perplexed on Tim Tebow coming back in the NFL. Not because I don't think that he can have a shot to make the NFL roster, because it's training camp. Like, who cares, right? Like, what, 90 players get signed, only 53 make it. So the overwhelming odds is that he's not taking the spot away from somebody else. They're just going to end up in some other team's training camp, yada yada. I hate to hear people say, "What? He's taking somebody else's spot." Yeah, okay. So what? They can lose a job too, you know. The only thing that I worry about is that he's going to stick on the roster because of his connection with the coach, which ordinarily wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, especially if you can get him in like a Taysom Hillish type package. But the way that the media has reacted to him being signed, Stephen A. Smith coming out and saying it's white supremacy, like, what the hell? Like, last time I checked, Kelvin Benjamin, who hasn't been a starting wide receiver in like, what, 4 effing years? Hasn't really been around the game of football a whole lot. Is in, what, New York's, the Giants training camp. Like, the dude literally left the NFL because he couldn't keep his weight down at wide receiver. So he's trying out at tight end, ironically enough. Go figure. You know what I mean? I heard somebody make a good point, Rare, is what will Trevor Lawrence be like developmentally in a game, in several games in its season, where he can't win every game, where he's not, you know, a 90% victory quarterback like he was at Clemson, where he doesn't have the best talent on the entire field, game in and game out. You know what I mean? So, that's just my question. Like, losing is not something that you learn well. It's definitely something that is like the school of hard knocks. And it sounds like Trevor Lawrence has never had that, ever. Oh my God, Hawkins. Block it. I don't know if that makes sense to you guys. I don't know if I had that come off as eloquently as I wanted it to. I was watching TV, playing a video game, and trying to speak about football. So, God, Coleman's had 12 carries today, averaging 2.7. It's not like I haven't given him the rock at all. Yeah.
Allen with the carry. Gain of 1 on the play. Wilson with the tackle.
All I gotta say is I hope that Jacksonville is on Hard Knocks this year. I don't have HBO, but you better believe I'm going to buy that package for those episodes. Oh my god.
Minutemen.
Yeah, watch the Jaguars. We're 17 now. I don't think they have the beat. I want to say that tentatively. Because they have a lot of defensive talent. A lot. But they lost a lot of games last year. So, is it that they were on the field too much? Or is it that they just don't have the right pieces? Because those are very different questions. Because you can have a good defense that just isn't playing well because they're out there way too much. They're exhausted. And I've definitely seen that with the Vikings, especially lately. You know, especially down the stretches of last year. Granted, you know, young secondary and, you know, learning, but once our offense was able to sustain drives and keep our defense off the field more consistently, our defense performed better. Not great. Better. Can't do it. A little too easy. Not like last game. Last game was a little bit of a challenge. What is this, 28, 29 unanswered here soon? It'll be a cold day in hell. I mean, yes, just because only one team has gone 16-0 and won the Super Bowl. And now that you add another game, who could you guys see this year going from decent or good to absolutely irrelevantly bad? Or even historically bad?
First and 10 from Milwaukee.
Getting there. Okay, buddy. Okay. Saints.
I'm taking counter. I'm taking counter.
Yeah, I suppose that is the easy choice, isn't it? You see me? Oh man, I see you. Max Dom. So good. Probably like one of those situations. Oh, you said that. Saints. They sold their soul for one Super Bowl type of thing.
Fourth down. This one's up.
That's why I feel like the Twins did, because they sold this city's soul to get those championships, and no team can come back and get anything going of relevant success, you know. What? Oh, you want to open it? Okay. You want me to help you?
Pass was incomplete, intended for Morton.
Oh, you want to do that one? Oh, okay. Ask if you need help.
Second and goal.
Cursed way before 09. Yeah, but they at least got there and they did it. I mean, obviously they were the Aints, but Do you want to put it in the juice pouch? Or should Daddy? Do you want to do it or me? Should Dada do it or you do it?
Credited with the tackle.
Let's go, D! That's what we're here for! Goal line!
Are you going to put the straw in? Oh my god. Look at that animation. Do you want to do it or me do it?
6 points, baby!
Okay.
3 on the play.
God, look at that. I mean, obviously, completely unnecessary, but unique. Oh my goodness, okay. There you go.
Stenerud is back for the point after. Zorn on the hold.
And boom. There we go.
The extra point is good.
Did you spill a little bit? Uh-oh.
Your Minutemen are kicking off. Craig deep to receive. Craig fielded the kick. A return of 23
I know,
on the play.
I talked to Bamba a lot
Ball is spotted
about
at
the Saints,
23-yard line.
and he still thinks that they should have moved to San Antonio. I don't think San Antonio could actually have an NFL team. What do you guys think? Obviously, they have the Cowboys down the road and the Texans, and I just couldn't imagine San Antonio embracing an NFL team. I know they have the best AAF team. You're filling up half of a college stadium, half. Like, that's not impressive. Especially when you look at the size of those Texas stadiums. I don't know if they would have enough. They're like, oh yeah, we'll have 70,000 every game with the established fan bases. Well, so the Saints played, I think, a year in San Antonio or something like that. When? Yeah, can I have it then? Thank you. They played somewhere. But if New Orleans wouldn't have been rebuilt, because for a while there, there was not bipartisan support to rebuild New Orleans as a city, especially with where it is at sea level. So a lot of people argued that it wouldn't be worth it because you're almost doing it just to have it happen again, type of thing. Don't take off your pants to the party, buddy. You know how.
4th and 1 from the block, 47 yards.
Yeah, the NBA is, what, 18,000 fans in arena? Not 70? You know what I mean? I feel like it's just a bit different. I wasn't paying attention.
We only need a couple here.
I was watching my son to make sure he actually went to the bathroom, because despite him being potty trained, some days he just, I don't know. Besides that, he doesn't want to remember what to do. I think it's just frustrating me.
1st and 10 from
Yeah, I mean, it's a good thing to rebuild a city in general, but I get the part where a lot of those politicians go, but for how long? You know what I mean? And obviously, thankfully, everything's been good so far. What, 15, 16 years later? So I don't even think that New Orleans is completely rebuilt from it, honestly. Not 100%. I'm not sure every neighborhood's back.
Watch the run!
Did you go, buddy? No.
Can't stop, 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 can't stop. How's that poison taste?
3rd and 2.
Oh, there we go.
Incomplete pass thrown by Hostetler.
Oh, that's offside right down.
First and 10 from the Minutemen. 29 yards.
Hey, what's got her? What's got her? Check! Goal! Wait!
I watch Puppy Dog Pals.
From the
Okay.
34-yard line.
Down! Sit!
And big sack.
With the sack. Yeah, baby, yeah! Woo-hoo! 3 on the play. Third and 18.
Yeah, buddy. Do you
37.
play 2K8 still, Stumpy? Much? I've completely loafed the play calling for like the last quarter and a half, maybe 2 quarters, and Auburn just has no answers for what little I'm calling. So this is just great. Oh, come on. You got to pick that off. That was Mosley, but it almost looked like Hawkins out there. Hawkins has no hands. No, I get that. I'm just saying, do you think that they could get a big enough fan base going with the Cowboys and Texans already being established? Like, would enough people break off of one of their current fan bases to support that team? You know what I mean? Because you're right. Texas is massive for football. 100%. But they're massive for the Cowboys too, you know, and so would there be enough support from what they already have and who they're already cheering for at this point in time? Do you think it was from all those games you put on there?
First down, Minutemen.
No, I get the population thing, I do. Because, yeah, there's a lot of, you know, smaller markets that have NFL teams. And, right, New Orleans does not have a massive population. I mean, but Louisiana's a decent football state. I mean, obviously, you got the LSUs of the world. They got, what, 3 or 4 D1 colleges?
Here we come! Twins!
Ah, that was triple coverage. There you go, Stumpy. You want to throw it in triple coverage? Oh, the Saints would 100% lose fans if they moved. I think the Raiders just lost fans now that they moved again. Obviously to a different state.
3rd and 12.
Yeah, that one was too easy versus Auburn. Same difficulty as you guys saw when I started up the game, but just easy win. That'll be the rest of the season, pretty much. I almost fear getting to the CFP just because then you can have the better teams there, and you're like, all right, well, I played a whole bunch of mediocre for like the last 10 weeks. Texas lost. NCAA basketball 10. He fell asleep. That's terrible. That'd be the worst way to wake up. That'd like ruin your entire day. So we got 1, 2, 3. left. So yeah, if I got through 2 more tonight, that'd be big. God, I wish I could be like Mac where I could just do like several games in a row. Wish I had the energy and time for that. The whole Rams, Raiders, Chargers thing was a massive after. Oh my god. I know. I mean, the Chargers should have never left. Like, that was a full-blown money grab. And the Rams, I get that move more than the Chargers by a long stretch. Like, they already had a fan base there. And the Raiders, obviously still a money grab, going to Nevada, but I don't know. We'll see how that one works out in the long term. I think having Gruden on that ridiculous contract is actually what's going to kill the Raiders as far as like local popularity around there, because they're not running that team all too well, and they're making these draft picks based off of what type of people they are. And yeah, that's great in theory, but you got to have the Jimmies and Joes to play and start, and I'm just not sure that their draft picks are going to be those guys for where they're drafting them, you know, like the Farrells of the world. And I don't know. Either way, I'll be back later tonight. That's the plan, at least. Thanks, Rare. Thanks, Stumpy. Thanks to everybody else who came in. Make sure you hit that